Hey everybody, it's Twin Soul Poets.
Poets.
We are your go-to couple for love and relationship advice
Dope spoken word poetry.
and uplifting content. Kiss my face.
What?
If you are someone who is having trouble moving on from a relationship, this video is for you. We are going to give you some insights and some ideas to help you understand why you might feel stuck in this relationship and a couple ideas on how to move forward as well.
If you are inspired by this video and you enjoy our content, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment, and let us know what you get out of it. Those things really do help our channel grow, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. I think that one of the most important things that someone can do if they're having trouble moving on from a relationship is to ask themselves why it is they're having trouble moving on by asking what it is they're holding on to.
It's important to think about answering this question from your needs and your perspective rather than making it about what the other person's qualities are that you don't want to let go of and what you really like about them. It's more so about what your needs and wants are that you felt like they were fulfilling. Many people might hold on to a relationship because they're afraid that they might not find love again, that if this relationship ends, they'll never find something that feels the same and they'll just be alone. That's a common fear.
And the irony of that is that by holding on to this relationship, even if you know it's not working, you're actually blocking the possibility of other relationships, of other opportunities coming in, even energetically. Like, people can feel that when you're not making complete space for something new, you're kind of stuck in this stagnant space, which you're not going to completely get the person that you were with, and you're not making space for anyone new either. Another reason some people might have trouble moving on from a relationship is because the sex is really good and the chemistry is really hot, but the intimacy is not.
Chemistry is exciting. It can feel really electric, but there is a difference between that and true connection, true intimacy. And sometimes the lines between the two can feel blurred, or you can mistake chemistry for real love, or, and it's not always the case. If you find this topic interesting or relevant, we have a whole entire video that really dives deep into it. And it's called Chemistry is Not Commitment. So definitely check that out. We'll put the link for that below.
And it's worth remembering that, like, when you've had a sexual relationship with someone and then you stop that sexual relationship, there's actual withdrawal that's happening. And that's part of the reason it can feel so hard to separate from each other, because you actually have this chemical reaction that's been going on with them, and then all of a sudden you're not getting it. So just recognizing, like, giving yourself some time to go through that. You're just gonna have to go through it, but it's worth it if you're really wanting to make space and let go of something that you know isn't working. The next reason that people have trouble moving on from a relationship, I think, is one that we see a lot in our coaching, which is just a feeling of not deserving better. And when we work with people and get to the roots of those issues, we often see that they recognize that there's so many more opportunities than they thought. Sometimes people are accepting poor behavior, they're accepting absence or distance or non-responsiveness from someone just because they honestly don't feel like they can do better. And when you get to the core of where that's coming from, and you work on your self-worth, and you work on, loving yourself, when you work on loving that inner child who needs the attention and focus and not trying to fulfill that from somebody outside of yourself, you'll often find that you begin to attract people who will treat you better and who will honor and notice and recognize the self-worth that you are growing within yourself.
Yeah, that's the key. You mentioned, like, going to the inner child and doing some of the deep diving, because a lot of these belief systems that we're carrying around that relate to things like self-worth, self-love, and things, those are beliefs that are, like, so far buried down in your, like, subconscious, and oftentimes were formed and sort of taken on as a part of you early in childhood. Like, we're talking like 5, 6, 7 years old, and so we don't even realize half the time what these beliefs are that we're carrying around about ourselves until we really take the time to go within, get still, and ask some really deep questions about, why do I do things I do? Why am I feeling this way? What happened to, create that idea for me? And then, these are the kinds of processes that we do with our clients in our private coaching, so we can really assist in this kind of thing. Another reason why sometimes people hang on is because some part of us likes the drama sometimes, right? Like, there's something exciting or entertaining or just engaging about like getting a high from these extremes, ups and downs, you know, the big argument and then coming back together and make up sex and you know, like just that the whole like the whole roller coaster of it can be addictive for some people, even if it's like totally toxic.
And that can be like rooted in fear of things getting boring or stagnant, you know, but honestly, in a relationship, you're going to go through peaks and valleys, but that's also like a day-to-day commitment of like keeping things fresh and new. And when you've been with someone for a long time, that's just a part of being in a relationship. It's finding new ways to like have interesting experiences to keep things fresh, but it's not like the healthiest way to do it through extremes that are drama and extremes that are like emotionally draining, because it's gonna catch up with you, and holding on to something that's toxic is ultimately going to be detrimental, especially when you're wanting to create like a deep soulful love relationship. It's not going to be fulfilling, and it's going to be this sense that, which we talked about in another video, where like two people may not even really know each other because they're only giving presentations of each other, rather than really being intimate and vulnerable, but they've actually not even revealed their true selves. They're dealing with these presentations of each other and all the drama stemming from that, when if you were willing to really open up and show your true selves, you could know if the compatibility was actually there.
Yeah, and going back to the whole chemistry is not commitment thing, and the idea of like chemistry and electricity being confused for love. Like sometimes adrenaline and stress and the intensity of like the drama is confused for like passion. And they're not always the same thing, man. You know, like it is one form of passion, but like, is that the kind of passion that you're really wanting? There's another side of passion that can be very soft and gentle and loving and fulfilling and filling you up and making you feel safe, not like attacked.
Well, that's a really good point. Yeah. We're going to share 2 things you can do if you're having trouble moving on from a relationship. The first thing you can do is untying ties. We have a really powerful process that we do in our private coaching sessions called Connected But Not Bound.
If you believe in the infinity of life, then you know that there are these energetic ties that connect all of us at all times, and especially when we have been in an intimate relationship with someone. Those ties can be really strong energetically, right? But what we go through in this process is realizing that just because those ties are there does not mean that we are bound to that person. We don't need to see these energetic ties and connections as chains, like restricting us or keeping us from enjoying or exploring the freedom of our own life choices. So this process that we do really just helps you to see and feel and actually be grateful for these connections, but to gently untie some of the knots that might be feeling like they're restricting you in some way.
And that's freeing not only yourself, but the other person to go and explore and have the space for healing. And sometimes people come back together. And that's the irony, that a lot of times when you afford and allow that freedom for yourself and the other person, it allows the clarity of that coming back together, which is the second piece of advice, which is to really get complete space. And this can be very challenging to do, we know, but I will tell you that the clarity of love often comes in the distance, in the space. So if you've been with someone a lot and all of the time and for, an extended amount of time, and you're in this point where, you're trying to move on from the relationship, but you continue to text every once in a while, or, check on their Facebook or go on their social media, you are continually bringing that energy back into your life. When you're trying to make space for yourself and do this healing work that we're talking about, it's really challenging to do when their energy is still all around you. So really making that space. It may mean, muting them on social media. It may mean taking their number out of your phone. And while that can seem really extreme, it's going to afford you that space and quiet to really get clear and reflect upon the relationship, to have the gratitude for the relationship. If it is someone you're meant to come back together with, that space is what allows it to happen. You've heard distance makes the heart grow fonder. You've heard maybe that the universe doesn't like a void. So whether if it's that person or someone else who comes in, that space has so much potential and opportunity there, right?
And we're really intentional about saying untying knots here, right? It's
Right.
not, we're not cutting ties.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, this is not aggressive. And even thinking about like blocking people's numbers or blocking their social media, it's not done from a state of resentment or bitterness or like negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
The process that we guide people through in our coaching is really one of love, and realizing that sometimes the most loving thing we can do for someone that we really care about is to let them go.
Yes.
If you've already come to this point where you're kind of separating, you have mutually agreed that maybe this connection is not the best for either of you at this time, it's a very loving act at that point to really allow the space and disconnect the energy completely so that they can be free. Yes. And you can be free. Check out the link below for our love coaching sessions you can book right now.
Yeah, if you want to try some of these processes firsthand, like one-on-one with us, where we'll cater it to you and your needs and what you are working on and what your love goals are, book with us, because we just get really powerful feedback from people. People leave feeling uplifted. People leave feeling more empowered. And then while you're in that space and you're creating that freedom, we can help you create your vision of love to bring in the kind of love that you want and deserve. And maybe it's with this person at some point in the future. But taking the time to do that kind of work is always worth it. So we are here for you. Click the link below. We'd love to meet you.
Thanks for watching, guys. We are affirming and claiming so much love for you and your life because, like we said, all of us are all connected, and the thread that connects all of life here on this planet is love. That is our belief. So being in love is just about learning how to connect to that within yourself and seeing the truth of it being all around you. That's what we help our clients do. So please do like and subscribe if you appreciate our content. Book a session with us, and we will see you guys on the next one. Peace.